Welcome to F-Zero GP Legend for the Game Boy Advance, released the same year as F-Zero GX in Japan and the following year in America. F-Zero GP Legend is my least favorite Game Boy Advance F-Zero out of the three. It kind of feels like they rushed this out to coincide with the airing of the F-Zero anime at the time. Since it's mostly based on the anime, we have new characters and stories to look forward to, as well as a greatly expanded story mode. There are now 8 characters you can play in story mode, each with 5 stages. However, the stages themselves are not very well designed in my opinion, and you'll especially see why. Rick Wheeler's story here pretty much illustrates a lot of my points right off the bat, so we can look forward to this. First up is a straight up beat the computer racer to the goal here. And I like what they did with this course. Well, we have sort of random pieces of road in the middle of nowhere, but you know, it kind of looks like an actual highway or something. So that's nice. So, GP Legends changes from maximum velocity. As you can see, I am now allowed to boost as much as I like. If this were an actual race, I would have to wait until the second lap to be able to boost, however. And we finished that stage pretty quickly. As far as the controls go, it's pretty much the same as maximum velocity, except you can now side attack now, and that's very nice. And you earn money for beating a story mission. However, with 2 exceptions, which I will get to later, money does absolutely nothing. Anyways, we have our side attack back, which I like, but sadly we do not have a spin attack, so destroying machines is still a little more difficult than I would like it to be, but you don't really need to destroy enemy machines, except for a certain story mission. Whose machine do you think that is, Rick? What's it look like? Anyways, the plot of this game is, the story in this game is kind of written awkwardly, as we will see. Rick Wheeler here has this sort of backstory with Zoda, which was never mentioned in any of the previous F-Zero games. And, you know, that's going to be a theme here, because GP Legend is in an alternate continuity. Don't really see why they needed to do that. The GX was just fine as far as I'm concerned. And here we have the first appearance of Captain Falcon. Yes, he's chasing Zoda too! And for whatever reason, he needs our help. And by help, I mean he needs us to do all the hard work while he just sits there. No, really, watch what happens in the actual stage. It's amazing. We have to beat Zoda to the goal again. Well, we have to beat the computer to the goal again.
2, 1, go!
So the race starts, and I use my side attack. That's very nice for getting around corners. There's Captain Falcon, kind of just chilling. We just have to pass Zoda here, and we win! Yeah! You really needed our help in order to accomplish this. Anyways, Rick Wheeler's machine is called the Dragon Bird. It's got a B rank in body, grip, and boost, which sounds very nice, but I don't really like using it because it doesn't exactly turn perfectly, but, you know, it'll get the job done.
Wonderful!
It's a little heavier than the Blue Falcon by comparison.
You won first place!
So with the second stage taken care of, yeah. 150-year history. That just sounds so hilarious when he actually says that, you know? It's like, oh, I've been chasing Zoda for 150 years, and that's not Zoda. One of 2 Biorex cameos, just letting you know. Rick Wheeler's obsession with Zoda is sort of part of his character at this point. So here's the big thing with Rick. 150 years ago, he and Zoda crashed and died and were put into cold sleep. 150 years later, Black Shadow breaks Zoda out of prison because, of course, they don't destroy the dangerous villain while they have the chance. So the Galaxy Police has to wake up Rick Wheeler because apparently he's the only one able to catch the guy. It's like an even worse version of Demolition Man, to be perfectly honest. So anyways, apparently Zoda is going to be at the Firefield race. Firefield. Why? Like, not this place again. And I noticed that this background, it's sort of giving me F-Zero GX vibes. Like, they took an image from GX and, like, used it as a background. Not sure where that's going. But here's the first actual race of story mode.
2, 1.
This should give you a better idea of how the races are going to work. But one thing that I don't like is that this course is taken from Grand Prix mode. They recycled a Grand Prix track instead of creating an entirely new one, which doesn't really sit well with me because, you know, oh, this particular race, it's just 16 racers. All you have to do is come in first. There's nothing interesting about it. You don't have to blow up a certain number of mines. What's unique about it? Oh, and speaking of the mines, they're a little tougher to get a speed boost off of. It was really easy in maximum velocity, but, you know, they don't work quite the same as what I was saying. The angle of the explosion, etc. We don't really need mines anyways, because the first lap is over with and we can actually use our own boost. And I'm slipping up just a little bit here because I'm used to the other machines in the game. Still, I guess it's a pretty nice course. I mean, lets us go fast at least. The boosting in this game kind of feels like it increases your speed for a certain duration instead of just like being a small burst of speed, like in GX. I still like GX better than this, but, you know, at least they're improving. They're trying to... With this, they were trying to make GX on the Game Boy Advance instead of SNES F-Zero on the Game Boy Advance. Woohoo, we win! Of course, that was entirely fruitless as far as the plot goes. I have no idea who Margaret is. If somebody wants to tell me who Margaret that he mentioned is, I don't know. But we have, but apparently Jody has been abducted again. So much for being a little more than a distressed damsel, huh? Oh, don't worry, we'll get to her storyline later. He does seem to be obsessed with Zoda, to be perfectly honest. Ooh, Blood Falcon, huh? So we have another generic course, and it's a timed mission. There's no pit area on the course, so if you hit all of the dash plates and use up all of your boost gear, you will have barely enough time to get to the goal within the 41 seconds you're allowed. I think it's 41 seconds. Unless my math is failing me. So still, there's no real obstacles in the way, so... Where's the difficulty from this? What's the point? I suppose I may as well use this time to explain something about the money that you earn at the end of each race. After this mission right here, the game will check how much money you have, and if you have enough money, the game will send you to stage 5, just as normal. If you do not have enough money, and you most likely won't the first time you play this, unless you repeat the early missions, then you will go to Stage X instead, which is what I'm going to show you first, before going on to the actual Stage 5. Of course, we save the girl's life, and she decides to slap us in return. Hooray! I've watched the TV show. Jody does slap Rick around a lot. I get that Jody is basically Rick's commanding officer, but seriously. Yeah, that's the excuse for not being able to enter. Why doesn't he get a loan or something? I'm actually not sure if it's possible to, lock yourself out of Stage X by, repeating the Firefield course and maxing out your money. Oh, and speaking of which, the other thing, about the money is if you max out a character's earnings at, the cap is 2.55 billion, then you unlock another machine for Grand Prix mode. That's pretty much it. You don't spend money on anything. Also, suddenly, Black Shadow for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, he decides to teleport us to Whiteland. Yeah. Suddenly Whiteland. The writing here makes no sense sometimes. Oh, but what makes even less sense, this is a completely anticlimactic race. Because the course here is very technical. In other words, it's built for my machine and not Black Shadow's.
3, 2,
and you will see.
fire.
He gets ahead of me at first here, but as soon as I pass him, he will never pass me up ever again. Just watch his dot on the mini-map there. This is an absolute joke. Hooray! Black Shadow, ruler of all. Terrible racer. And I get that this is the first story mode character thing in the game, so it makes sense if it were easy, but I would just... Okay, just watch for a little longer. Anyways, the course itself isn't... the course itself is very nice. You have to use the side attack in order to make a couple of the turns with the Dragon Bird, but that's fine. Glad I have my side attack back. Of course, I'm slipping up just a little bit here. The ice isn't really the issue. It's these turns. It's not the turns and the ice. It's just the turns. And... coming up right here. If I'd stop hitting the walls. I am now a full lap ahead of Black Shadow. In fact, why don't I tail him for a little bit and just watch this guy fail at the course. That's the thing about GP Legends Artificial Intelligence. It's so bad at playing itself. This game. Of course, this isn't the real final chapter of Rick Wheeler's story, which we'll get to once we're finished here. Yeah, that's how you swing around that turn. I finally learned how to turn.
You won first place.
Just barely over 2 minutes again? Pick a better course next time, Black Shadow. Oh, of course, an alter ego. What kind of sense does that even make? Like, maybe he was just saying, oh, I wasn't at my full power, I'll be back, whatever. That's so cliche. Whatever that means. Okay, rewind. Back to stage 4. back to stage 4, and now that I have the money in order to enter that big blue race, let's see how that changes the cutscene. Of course, I could watch Rick get slapped as many times as I wanted, and it would still be hilarious. Maybe I should make a slap reel. But no, that's the only slap in the game. And why am I talking about this? Yes, now we have enough. Oh, I see. The game actually did subtract $300,000 from my money, so I guess you just repeat stage 4 over and over again until you fall below the amount needed to enter stage X. That's how it works. So you can't permanently lock yourself out. You just have to repeat things over and over again. Oh no! Someone meddled with the brakes! Have you ever seen me use brakes? Why did you mess with his brakes? Couldn't you have disabled his boost or something? Like something useful? Whatever, it doesn't even matter because the course they decided to set this race on was designed by... I don't know who designed it, but if you don't see the problem just by looking at the mini-map, the problem will be very evident as soon as I finish the first lap.
2, ready, fire.
Until then, you notice that we could, if we wanted to, not win the race, but instead cause Jack to win instead. I don't see why you would do that, because just gotta get around this turn right here. And I broke the course. Yep, that's right. Slip Highway has an incredibly obvious jumping shortcut. Like, GP Legend has that all over the place. In fact, there are plenty of shortcuts like this, and they actively encourage you to take them. There's no punishment for cheating like that, and I'm gonna do this lap legit, just so you can see. There's no punishment for taking such a huge shortcut like there was in GX, or in X, or not even in... Like, where's that UFO from the Super Nintendo version that takes you back a few steps if you try and make a shortcut like that? It's crazy! This is why I think GP Legend was rushed, because it's just not as polished as the rest of the franchise. And this is the last F-Zero game to be released in America, so it probably left a bad taste in the US's mouth. There was one more F-Zero game, but called F-Zero Climax. We'll get to that, but for now, just know that it wasn't released outside of Japan. And there are probably numerous reasons for that, because I hear that the anime didn't earn such spectacular ratings over here in America. Which is a darn shame, because I was kind of enjoying it when I watched it. And I've gone completely off topic, but what is there to say? It's got an obvious shortcut, and there's no possible way you could lose this race.
Congratulations!
You don't even need your brakes.
You won first place.
Why do they think messing with my brakes makes them the winner? So that's the end of Rick Wheeler's story mode. You know, if I had that happen to me, I'd be pretty pissed too, so I can sympathize with Zoda here. That line doesn't really make sense to me. Ha 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 ha. Talk about bookends. We're chasing Octoman again. Shouldn't he be at Triple Eights by now because we messed up the last time? Oh well. That's the end of Rick Wheeler's story. Next up is Captain Falcon's story.